Hey guys, Mystic here. So today we're going to get into a topic that really isn't about character progression and stats and things like that. We're going to talk mostly cosmetics right now. Specifically, we're going to talk about costumes. What they are, how do you acquire them, are there any restrictions on them, a whole bunch of questions, right? So let's get into it. Costumes are basically just cosmetics that allow you to, define and kind of express your character uniquely, right? On how you want your character to look as you're playing the game. Now, let me say that while that is, one aspect of what costumes are, you do not have access to all costume pieces, okay? You have to actually acquire these costumes, be it through rep grinding with a particular faction, be it through purchasing them from the online store, be it through quest rewards, either quest rewards or from your rucksack bag, right? That get added or that get that you acquire by turning in those quests, and then actually previewing that item, seeing if the skin, right, on the particular item is something that you think you may want to use one day on your character to create a particular look and feel for your character. And if so, then you'll add it to a hollow wardrobe. Now, let me also say that there are some restrictions on how costumes are used. For example, this costume right here on my engineer is called the Black Hoods costume set. Okay, the Black Hoods are Exile specific. They are, I guess, in essence, the intelligence wing of the Exile. What that means is, if you're a Dominion player, for example, this character here will not have access to that particular costume item, right? Because Dominion characters, won't have access to the Exile specific gear and vice versa, right? So, yeah, I think it's the ICI on the Dominion side is the same as the Black Hoods, and they have their own particular gear that you can get. So there are some restrictions, right? But there's not a lot of restrictions, okay? Another restriction. While your costume piece is accessible, right, once it's added to the hollow wardrobe, to all of your characters, unless there's a faction restriction, okay? The other restriction is that it's server specific. So this is the North America entity realm, okay? All the costumes that I have here are not going to be accessible to me on the Jabit server, and vice versa. Okay, so it's server constrained, it's account wide, faction restrained. Okay, so if a piece of gear is acquired for exiles only, then it'll be just for exiles only. Okay, so keep that in mind. Otherwise, you're pretty much free to use any costume you want across your varying characters. You may have 14, you may have 20 characters, you may have 2 characters. Either way, costumes are going to be available account wide on the server. Okay, so let's get a real quick visual of like what styles of costumes you can have from my character list here, right? So here's a style on my Dominion warrior. She's running a mishmash of costumes, right? This is like the life weapon, I think, costume. I think these are like the gambler pants. This is like a default chest piece that's been added. So she's got a mishmash. There's no set that she's running with. Unlike my spell slinger up here, she's running this gambler's set. And it's all these pieces work together, right, to create this particular look. Okay, my my engineer also is running another set. Okay, and it looks like this. Right, my medic and my Dominion spellslinger are running the same costume. This is called the Moon Mariner's costume, and this one's purchased from the store, the online game store. So is this costume also purchased from the online game store. So let's get in. Let's actually look at costumes a little bit more in depth, how to get access to the costumes, how to add a item to your costume inventory, how to equip that costume, how to dye that costume, and actually how to save that and make it a preset for your character selection. Okay, so let's get into the game and take a look. Let's see, we're going to go in on our, let's go in on, well, she's got some hair. Let's go in on our, well, our engineer's really got nothing at level 3. All right, let's go in on our actual stalker here at 28. Okay, so you see her costume. Well, actually, let's get into the game costume again. Okay, this costume here, okay, this costume here is the Strain costume, okay, except for the headpiece. All right, so the shoulder, the chest, the arms, the legs, the pants, they're all part of the Strain costume. All right, this actually comes from a rep grind, so you're not going to have this if you're a new player. Okay, it's something you can work up towards, but you're not going to have it accessible to you. Remember, I have so many characters that if I create a level 1 character, I can equip this particular costume because it's part of my hollow wardrobe, right? And that then is accessible to all of my characters on the same server, unless it's a faction restricted costume, like the Black Hood's costume. Okay, so let's get into how did this get equipped? How do I customize this, etc., etc. So the first thing you start with is you want to hit P, your player profile here. So bring up your player window here by pressing P. Then on this window, you want to look at this button right here. It says display stats. Now, if you mouse over it, it kind of turns the lighter blue. Okay. If you click on this, you're going to get a drop down menu that appears, right? There's going to be an option right here for costumes. And then we get now this menu that appears here. We have open hollow wardrobe, remove costume, costume presets right here. So we kind of cycle through the costumes that are in play on this character. Okay. Then I can just simply hit equip and boom, my character's changed. And now I look like this. Okay. But maybe it's something I don't want. Maybe I wanted to go back to the original Strain costume, right? Because maybe I go into Grim Vault at level 46 and I want to use this Strain theme to kind of fit the environment. Well, again, I would just go to this one here and I hit equip and boom, I'm now looking like my Strain costume here. Now, again, you can have 6 of these presets, and I think we can kind of increase that based on the store here, but we can get that in a few minutes. Let's talk about the actual pieces, how to add them, how to customize them, etc. So, remember, we hit P to bring up our player profile. We selected from the drop-down menu here, right, from the left click on this bar. We selected costumes. Then what we want to do is we want to select open hollow wardrobe, okay? Now, if you are going to be doing a lot of costuming on your characters and you don't want to do P, drop down, costumes, open hollow wardrobe, you can actually make this easier on yourself by going to the menu system down here. Okay, you'll see that you have the hollow wardrobe is a selection. And you see there's this little thumbtack icon here. Okay, if you click on the thumbtack icon, it'll actually put it as a icon that you can click on right here. Okay, in this bar here. It'll find a place, whatever's the next available opening, and we'll place that icon right there. Okay, and let me just show you. With that there, I can click on this, and I'm right into the hollow wardrobe. There it is. Okay, so now here's the hollow wardrobe. This is our play area for how we can kind of customize our character's look. We get a preview of what the character will look like before we actually apply any changes to it. So we're going to find a costume that's basically empty. Here's one. You see here, there's no costume selected. So this is what the gear on this character would look like at this level if I haven't added any costumes to her actual interface. Now, let's actually start with the headpiece, okay? If you click on the headpiece icon here with the left click, this menu now replaces that center panel, and these are all of the headpieces that I have available as a costume for my character. So I can basically click on each one of these, and it will show me the preview right here. I can scroll in to kind of get a closer look right? I can kind of see. All right, that's kind of got that. Okay, this one looks like that, and you can kind of work your way through these selections. Okay, basically trying to create the look that you want. You can either just go with the costume set if you have one in its entirety, like the Strain one here. You can mix and match pieces, right? Like you saw my warrior, to create a unique look for your character. All just depends upon what you have available to you and what you want your character to look like. Okay, so I can actually give her this look. I can actually put these visors on instead. So let's say I want to do these visors. We're gonna create our own look here. Okay, so these visors, let's look at shoulder pads real quick. Here's the shoulders. Let's see what looks good on her. Now those are too big. Those are, all right, that's kind of hidden by her hair. That's a little festive. And those are kind of wide. Remember, all of these shoulder costume pieces are pieces that I have added to my collection, right? They are not there by default. They have to actually be added by you to this collection. I think this is the Strain one here. Kind of hard to see that. So her hair is rather a lot, so it's kind of covering up some of the pieces here, right, that you would potentially see a little bit better if the hair was kind of taken back. So what we can do is we can put on a helmet like this, and we can kind of see the shoulder pieces a little bit clearer, right? Okay, it's one, it's kind of like that, it's like that. But again, since we're not going to be using this particular helmet, we should probably build around the one that we have here. So let's say I like those shoulder pads, right? They kind of fit, right? Let's go to the chest piece here. You can kind of play around with the chest configuration of you know, which skin you want to add to it. Okay, say we do this Dark Mystic. Here we go, Dark Mystic. It's rather fitting. And if we select, let's see here, what else do we have here? Darkspur gloves, data core, and you can see here as you mouse over them, they have a name on them, right? The name of the gear. So you can use the filter box up here to search for that particular piece of gear. So let's say I wanted to do something dark, like the Dark Mystic thing. I have a data core Omni gloves, so I can click on those. All right, those look pretty interesting. I can click on those. What are these? These are the Darkspur gloves. Okay, so there, maybe those look pretty good. Click over here. Let's check out pants. Let's see, maybe those look interesting. Maybe those. Maybe these. All right, so you can scroll out and you can kind of just keep looking at the pants, and let's try the boots. Okay, let's try those. So this basically is just showing you the freedom that you have to kind of create your character's look. Maybe you have a lot of pieces and you can kind of mix and match. Maybe you don't have any pieces. You know, you're gonna have to add some to play with. Maybe your selections are limited, so you're going to just have a small lot to choose from to kind of make your character look a little unique. So let's say I like these pants, I like that, I like that. Okay, it's cool. All right. Now, in order for me to equip this, first I have to actually say I'm done editing the costume, right? And you'll see here when I do that, this will actually change. Boom. Now this is my character here, right? Now, that's how you actually equip a costume. That's how you make a preset, right? So costume 4. So if I go to costume 2 and I say, you know what, I like costume 2 instead, right? Equip it. Boom, it's changed. Like, you know what, maybe I like costume 4 better now. And so this is how you can work with those presets, right? You can save a preset, then you can swap back and forth between the presets. Boom, swap the preset. And I never really set the guns here, so maybe I can try setting the guns. Those look pretty cool. Let's first, in order for it to actually apply to that costume set, you have to click this button right here, which is the editing cost button. It never really costs anything for editing, but that just basically makes sure it saves it. Okay. Now, if you want to get even crazier with this, right, you can actually dye these particular items. You see things here that actually have a blue box around them. These are the channels that you can dye or change the color on. Okay. Now, much like costume pieces, dyes are also the exact same way, except there's no faction restriction from what I remember. Maybe there is, but I don't think there is. So basically, when I add a die to when I unlock a die, right, it automatically gets added to my die inventory, and it's accessible to all my characters, and it's represented here. So here's how I set colors on my gear. So let's say, for example, we go to the chest piece here. Okay, this chest piece has 3 channels that we can dye. Now if I click on it with the left mouse button, you'll see here I can actually start to click and see what these will actually, what the effect will look like if I go and set the color to this particular row here. Now again, these are all the dyes that I've acquired over time. You may or may not have these available to you. You may have more than what I have. You may have a lot less than what I have. Either way, you'll see your selections here. You also can purchase dyes in the store, but we'll get to that in a minute. So here's how you can actually kind of customize even further the look of your character by changing the dye channels, right? So let's say this is the green thing. Yeah, maybe what I want is, I don't want this green, okay? Maybe what I want is, let's say I want to remove the dye here, but let's say maybe this filler here, I want to do that. Let's do that fireball. Let's do this one. Let's do that. Let me try this one. So you can see here, there's quite the selection that I have. Again, you may or may not have this many. And again, it's completely going to be dependent upon what you've unlocked. Once you figure out what you want, maybe I want this Deluxe Elden Green. Okay, maybe I want that. Again, I have another channel here, so I can kind of play around with it. Say, no. Now you see this checkbox. If I check these 2 together, right, they'll change the colors and make them match. If I remove the checkbox, you see here, I can actually independently now change the colors. Okay, and whatever is highlighted, okay, is the channel that I'm changing. Okay, so we went back to, let's say we go with this, and then this channel, right, we deselect that, okay, and then I can actually fill in the colors going this way. So you see here, and I can actually use this outline here, so all this gold, right, is going to be replaced with this green. Okay, now if I'm done and I'm happy with this, right, I can click this button right here, and this is what it'll cost me to make that change. And see, now it's changed. Now, say in the future, I'm like, you know what? I don't really like this dye color right here. Scroll back up, remove dye. It removes all the dyes, or I can basically come back to this channel again, right? And I think it was the Deluxe Elden Green. Elden Green. Where's the Deluxe Edition? And again, here you can actually use the search feature. Deluxe, there we go. And so I can set that. Boom. So now I have like this really cool Deluxe Elden Green outline happening on the fabric here. Excuse me. Up here, you see the same thing? I can make this green more vibrant. Bam, it's more vibrant, right? I can do the same thing on the hands here. Maybe I want to make those, maybe I want to make this channel here green, right? So now you see I'm starting to customize my character's look. While other people may have this exact same gear set, my color selection now can actually help to create the uniqueness for my character. Again, now that's saved, so basically this is what it looks like, right? So that's how you can actually customize the costume for a particular gear position. Okay, head item, again, I can work around potentially selecting something different. Now, it should be noted that this selection where I'm adding like this intense Deluxe Elden Green only modifies this character's usage of that particular costume item. It doesn't change the default color for the item. Okay, so think of it as a skin replacing what's there with this color only for this instance of that particular item. So when I go in a different character and I pull open this exact same headpiece here, right, the hood of the Defile, it's not going to have this vibrant green strip here. Okay, that's unique to this character. All right, so that's how you can continue to customize the character, but not to be worried that you're actually making a permanent change to the item itself. All right, so I should just let you know that up front so you don't get scared or get reserved about making changes to your gear. That's not really going to affect you from that perspective. Okay, so what else? We talked about dyeing the gear. We talked about how to equip the gear. Let's talk about how you actually add a piece of item to your gear Hollow Wardrobe's inventory. Okay, so now we're actually focused on, well, we can actually acquire it from the store, right, which we've talked about before. So you go back to the store icon, right? Okay, or if you want to be slick about it, you press the U key. Okay, so press the U key. That brings open the store. You see here, Hollow Wardrobe. So its own category here. And in that category, we have costumes, costume pieces, we have weapons, and we have dyes. On the costumes, basically just selecting a costume will show you what it looks like on your character. See how it says preview on myself? If I remove that, it basically goes to a default selection. Okay. So you can click on it, bring it back. Here you go. You want to remove it, so you want to see what it looks like with the weapons out. Remove this option right here. Say you don't like this one, click the back arrow, click on another one. Maybe you like the lawman one right here, the lawman costume. That looks pretty slick. What does it look like with the weapons out? Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Now, let's say, for example, you like this costume. You see here, you can purchase it with Omnibits or Proto Bucks. Okay. Now, when you actually purchase a costume, you see here there's only two prices for it. It's not going to be like, for example, like on your mounts, right? When if you go to your mounts, you see there's two icons for the mount, right? This is one is a character specific, and this one is account wide. Okay, so it says account up here, and that one removes account. Okay, so that means I can purchase this for just my character here, and only my character here has access to it. If I do it for account, it goes to my account inventory, and any one of my players can pull this particular mount out of account inventory and use it, as one of their mounts. Okay, it's not that. When it comes to costumes, if you purchase a costume, okay, the costume basically is delivered to the character that purchased the costume, and it comes in as costume items. So you get a headpiece here, you get the shoulders, you get the chest piece, you get the legs, and you get the boots. Right, and all those will show up as items in your inventory here. Okay, once you have those there, right, then what you would do is to add it to your Hollow Wardrobe, so another character in your account can access it. Right, you can go and use our handy dandy button down here, or you can press P here, costumes, open Hollow Wardrobe. You see we have this little box right here. We can take a piece of gear, we can drag it and drop it. And it'll say, okay, are you sure you want to add this particular set of shoulders? It gives you a little preview to your actual Hollow Wardrobe costume. Now, we should note here, we only have 350. That's pretty good. 350 openings, right, in our Hollow Wardrobe costumes that we can add things to. Okay, we can actually increase that lot by using this increase unlock limit. We can go to the store, and you see here for 195 Omnibits or 390 Protobucks, we can actually increase our costumes by a total of 100. So the 350 will turn into 450. We can actually do this 20 times for a maximum of 2,300 Hollow Wardrobe openings. Right, where we can just add gear into. So we can have 2,300 costume pieces in our actual Hollow Wardrobe if we wanted to. By default, we have 350. So if I add this one here, these Genesis pauldrons, I see what they look like. I say, okay, you know what? I want to add this in. What's it going to cost me? Well, here's your unlock price right here. 18 silver, 75 copper. I have 270 out of 350. Adding this costume piece will make this 271 out of 350. If I click this, and then it's added. Now, how do I know it's added? Well, there's two ways I can check. One, I can actually go into the shoulders, and I can type in Genesis, and then I can roll over. Oh, here's the Genesis pauldrons, what we just added. Okay. Or the other way to do it is to go into your inventory again, finding that piece of gear, right-clicking on it. Actually, shift key, then right click. You see here, unlock costume item is no longer accessible. So that means it's in my collection. Well, how about something that isn't in my collection? What does that look like? Well, if I right click on it, here, unlock costume item is now available to me. So I can click this button. Don't worry, it doesn't automatically add it to your character's selections. It'll give you the same screen here. It'll show you the preview. Okay. And you see here, now I have 271, right? Because we just added those pauldrons to our selection, right? It will cost me again 18 silver to add these items, right? For my selection, if I wanted to, on my Spellslinger, into my Hollow Wardrobe costume. I'm not really, these don't look really that special or unique, and I really can't see them being used in any type of my builds right now. So I'm going to skip that. So that's one thing that you can look at too, is when you actually get a quest reward item and you mouse over it and you're like, oh yeah, this is horrible. Less assault power, less support power. Sure, it gives me crit hit rating and crit severity rating, but at the cost of assault power, that's okay. You can keep that. I'm either going to sell this piece or I'm going to break it down, if I can, into parts for my crafting, right? So before you sell a piece, if you're conscious of building up your Hollow Wardrobe inventory, take a second, hold down the Shift key, right click on it, preview the item, see what it looks like on your character, see if it's something you want to add to your collection. If it is, either pull open the Hollow Wardrobe, drag and drop it, or hold down the Shift key again, right click it, say unlock costume, and then you can say unlock the costume. It will cost you this much, and then you'll have that in your collection. You can go into your Hollow Wardrobes, find the actual item you just added, and now apply that costume. That way you're not applying the look and the stats that the piece of gear has. You're just applying the look to your character, keeping the stats of the current gun. Now, let me also say that with these costumes, they will remain the dominant view on your character until you change it. So you could have this look for every single level as you're leveling, from level 1 to level 50 and into rating gear. Okay, if you're like, wait, why is it not showing me my this new chest piece? I just finished this raid, got this awesome chest piece. Why does it still look like the one I was leveling up in? Oh, right, because the costumes are still on. So if that's the case and you want to kind of modify the costume, you can do it two ways, right? You can go into the costume. You can go here, right? You see how it has the eye icon, right? Okay. Well, you can remove this costume, right? So if I go here, see, I removed it by right clicking on it. Okay. Now I have to click back on it and I can go find it again. And I say, okay, we're going to leave this. We're going to accept the loss. Meaning we're going to accept the fact that we're not saving changes and it's still here. So again, if you want to see what it looks like, you can go in here to costumes and you can go down to, maybe you don't have a costume saved. You can click on this and this will show you what it looks like, right, without a costume piece on. Okay. Or you can actually look at that particular item that you've just acquired, add it into your collection, right? So that way your level 1 character can have that particular item's look from the raid, right, on a level 1 character, and you can add it into your collection, and then you can kind of play around with the look, and get the feel just right for another costume. So that's basically how you're going to access your costumes, how you're going to set your costumes, how you're going to acquire or build up your Hollow Wardrobe inventory, how you can preview items to get a sense of, are they worth being added or not? If they do, how much it costs you, and then how to actually find that item in your costume selection, right? Once you have your look that you want, then basically this is the look that will stay until you change the costume or simply remove the costume from your current view. Then this is your character's look. So hopefully this has helped you guys a little bit more on costumes, how to how to get to that look that you may want. And again, if you're new, unfortunately, these items aren't going to be available to you. You're going to have to work to get towards them. Unless you purchase a look from the costume shop or from the in-game store, you're not going to have them available to you just yet. But it's good to know that in time, and by playing the game, and by working to build up rep and things like that, your character can look just as unique, if not more unique, than the characters that you've seen here in this video. So guys, I hope this has helped. I hope you have a better understanding of costumes. If you have more questions on costumes, by all means, please leave a comment or a question in the comment section of this video. Or if you'd like to interact with me, please follow along on my Twitch page, right, at Mystic813. And when I go live, you can just jump in, ask me those questions, and I can try to answer them for you by either showing you like I've just done, or working together with you to kind of answer your question. And if I don't know the answer to the question, I'll try to find it for you either off stream, or we can pause the stream and kind of do a little research and see what we can find. So guys, I hope this has been helpful. Thanks for watching this video. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for following along for those that have. I really appreciate it. And guys, I hope you're having fun in WildStar, and I hope to see you in game. Thanks for watching. Bye guys.